Hey everybody, welcome to the Waldock Way. I'm Jessica, and today's video is going to be about our veterinarian unit study. And I am so excited because this is actually going to be the third time we have circled around to veterinarian, because it is something that Emily has remained interested in for a long period of time. And because of that, you're going to see that the amount of time and money that I have invested is larger than the previous units you have seen. And there is a reason for that. I always try to base my commitment on her interest. So like if she's a little bit interested, then I put a little bit of time and a little bit of money into it. If she's a lot interested, then I invest that same amount of time and money into the unit that we're going to be doing. So I think I have a blog post, which I will link down below, of the last time we did a veterinarian unit, and you will see that I primarily used only things that we already had on hand in our house. I didn't invest a whole lot of outside time or money into it. It was very quickly put together, no big deal. This time, you can see I have invested quite a bit more time, and you're going to see quite a bit more money. So this is the layout of our veterinarian unit. If you are looking for this planning page, it is available in my homeschool planner as well as my wizard planner, depending on which look you want. And if you are curious how I plan a unit study, I will link a video up here where I walk you through step-by-step planning a unit study. Now, without further ado, let's get into all of the awesomeness. The first thing I'm going to show you is what I am using as a base, or what I'm kind of calling like our curriculum of this unit. So the two main things I am going to be using is the Usborne Vet Academy. We have slowly gone through this before. I want to do it a little bit more, I guess, concisely, use it a little bit more wisely. We didn't write in it previous times. I'm glad we didn't. We will probably do that this time around. And this, luckily, is split into Pet Vet, Zoo Vet, Farm Vet, and the Vet Bag. And I will show you in a minute. The other main thing we'll be using as a curriculum is also split into Pet, Farm, and Zoo. So our unit is going to be split into a pet unit, a farm unit, and a zoo unit. And I will explain a little bit more about that. But in case you've never seen it, these Academy books are amazing. They have little exercises, things that you need to do. There's math included, there's writing included. They really are kind of like an on-the-job training book. I love every one of these and highly recommend them, especially if there's a topic they have that your child is interested in. The other thing we're going to be using, because I wanted Emily to go a little bit deeper, is this. So you want to be a veterinarian, project-based learning, veterinarian and training curriculum from Teachers Pay Teachers. And it is like really, really in-depth. The way it works is there is a pet vet certification, a farm vet certification, and a zoo vet certification. And it gives you 12 options per each one. The student must complete, Emily has already started, as you can see, but you must complete at least 8 to qualify for that certification. So things for the pet vet include treat them with kindness. You have to list a few different things that your pet might need and why. Come up with patient names and kind of patients that a pet vet might treat. You have things like a cat and a dog's body language, the food they eat, designing a cat house. The next one is designing a dog run. And then for farm, you have things like the baby names of the farm animals. This one is really cool. This is all in a day's work, and so it tells you down at the bottom the percentage of animals that the vet, or the percentage of time the vet spent on the different animals, and you're basically going to make a pie chart to represent that. Here you have to color the horses accurately to the different breeds that are listed. So this requires a little bit of research. You have here you have to list 3 diseases that each of the animals might get on the farm. Here's another math one where it's around the clock. You have to feed the sheep or the lamb, the baby, every 2 hours. So you have to mark that down on the clock, and then you chart that on the clock next. For the zoo, you have something like this where it tells you what all of the different animals need area and perimeter wise. And then you have to design your zoo based off of that information. You have to come up with reptile vocabulary. You design a chimp habitat. Let's see. Here you're going to do the different animals in your care. It tells you down here the amount of animals, and you're going to basically design a bar graph. Where in the world the different animals live from the zoo. The different things they eat. And then when they are completely done, in the back they have all the different certifications, the certificates that you can give them. And the very last thing they are going to do is design a pamphlet all about veterinarians. So this in itself is really cool, and if you were doing a veterinarian unit, this would be enough by itself, but of course that's not enough for us. So we will also be using this What Do Veterinarians Do? And this is just an activity book from the American Veterinarian Medical Association. It has things like pictures to color with little sentences about what they do. It includes games like a matching game, what's different. There's lots of matching games and what's different, and connects the dots and coloring pages. So this is just kind of an activity book. This was a free download. And don't worry, I will link everything in a blog post so you don't have to write any of this down. And then I have two different things we'll be using for math. One will be the Real World Math Zookeeper. I really, really love this because the math in it is what a zookeeper would do for feedings and the times a day, and it just kind of helps relate math to a job that she's very interested in. And then for the pet section, I found these really awesome QR coded cards. So there is, I think, 15 or 20 of these, and you have a pet and a QR code. And when you scan this, it tells you a fact about this pet. So it'll tell you a fact about a pet rabbit. And then you also have a veterinarian math problem here. So you have a rabbit comes in with a sick tummy because he ate too many carrots. He ate 54 carrots yesterday and 17 carrots today. How many carrots did he eat altogether? So they're just really cool cards that will keep her interactive, reading facts and solving math problems. So you're checking on the fish in an aquarium to make sure they're okay. You see 61 fish swimming around. If 27 of them are orange, how many are blue? So just fun math problems like that. And that, for the most part, outside of also designing our entire downstairs room, which I will show you maybe at the end of this video, as a clinic. So she has like scales and registers and thermometers and little stuffed vet animals everywhere. And basically our whole downstairs has been redesigned as a dramatic play vet clinic, which will also be a big portion of the unit. She has decided that we will be doing day school, and then she will be working on the job training vet clinic in the early mornings, and in the evenings is when she will be on the job training. So that is all her idea. The next thing I'm going to be showing you are the books that I have selected for us to use. Obviously, I have quite a few books like What Do Veterinarians Do? And the Vet Community Helpers Here to Help. But the big main book that I'm going to be reading aloud is So You Want to Work with Animals. And this is Discover Fantastic Ways to Work with Animals, from Veterinary Science to Aquatic Biology. The main reason I wanted to read this book to her is because it does go through so many different ways to work with animals outside of just being a vet. And I think she's mostly interested in veterinary because that's all she knows works with animals. So I wanted to open her eyes to some of the other things that she might be able to do and still work with animals. I will also be reading this series aloud. I only got the first 3 because I'm not sure if they have happy endings and how she's going to react. There are 17 in this series, so if we like them, I will get the rest. They're called Vet Volunteers. The first one is Fight for Life. Then we have Homeless, and then we have Trickster. So again, if we like them, I will get more of those. I also, again, wanted to include some history as well as other animal lovers, other ways to work with animals. So the Who Was books has some printables on their website, and there was an animal lovers printable that had to do with Jane Goodall, Jacques Cousteau, and Steve Irwin. So we will be reading all 3 of those Who Was books so that she can complete that. And then the other thing I will be reading aloud are these Be the Vet books. These are really, really awesome, especially if you have a veterinarian lover. They were a little bit expensive for what I thought. Well, they're a little pricey, but they're worth it. They're like $7, and you get 7 dog and cat stories inside it. So I've read through the first one, and I know that all of these stories end happily. I haven't read through these yet. I will let you guys know in like the end review kind of thing. But the way it works is you have a story. For instance, this first story is an attack, and it's a backstory about how one dog gets attacked by another, and you hear the family telling the story. And then at the very end, they call the vet, and then you are the vet. So over here, you write down the name of the animal, the type of the animal, symptoms and injuries, and your treatment plan. After you've done that, you flip the page, and you actually are reading the veterinarian's history, assessment, and treatment plan of that animal. And then they always give you, like, here is kind of a synopsis of how the dog was feeling afterwards. So they end it on a happy note and then tell you, like, oh, weeks down the road, the dog is fine. So I really, really think she's going to enjoy those. Like I said, the first one, I know that they all end happily. I haven't read through the volume 2 and 3 yet. So I will let you know if that's something you need to know. For shared reading, we will be reading through the Pet Vet series. We've read these before. One fell. Sorry. I'm missing one. Here we go. There's 6 in the series. I read these aloud. This time we'll be reading them as our shared together books. And then if we get through that series, we will also be reading together Amy Wild Animal Talker, just because it looked cute. For her books, I have the Dr. Kitty Cat series. Our cat Nala looks just like this cat, so she thought that was super hilarious, and so she's excited. There are 10. I don't know if there's more in the series, but we have the first 10. So that is what she will be reading. And just in case you want to see the level, I think there's about 7 chapters in each one, and each color inside is the color that's on the front. So like that has the green color inside. But we are halfway through the first one, and so far they're really, really cute stories. So I highly recommend that series. I also pulled a lot of the Usborne beginner books because we love these. I love that this is almost a unit study in itself. So I pulled 4 for every kind of section we're doing. So for pets, I have cats, dogs, snakes, and lizards. And then for farm, I have farm animals, horses and ponies, eggs and chickens, and pigs. For zoo, I have elephants, tigers, bears, and pandas. And we based those zoo ones off of our local zoo, and we pulled books that we knew our local zoo had. For hands-on items, I have the Veterinarian Loose Parts Kit from Mulberry Toes. She was kind enough to custom make this for us. I do believe it is now available in her shop, and I will leave a code right here because if you use the Waldock way, you can get 10% off of your Loose Parts Kit. If you watched my Ollie's haul, you know that Emily picked up the Veterinarian Science and she was super excited about it, so we will actually be using this during the unit. And then I picked up a anatomy set, which will be the end of each of the smaller units. So I have the cat for the end of our pets unit. I have the horse for the end of our farm unit. And I have the giraffe for the end of our giraffe unit. I also have a dissection kit from Homeschool Science Tools, or Home Science Tools, that we will be doing for the end of the entire unit, kind of as like her final exam. So we will be doing some actual dissections for this as well. You guys know that no unit would be complete for us without technology, so I'm going to go ahead and get into some of the technology. I will link as many of this in the blog post as I can. The first thing I have is this Vet Life Wii game. I bought this used on Amazon. It was like $3. It was definitely not the price shown here. But it's really, really cool because you get to go through all of the different vet training things for pets, farm, and zoo animals. And it happens to be each level. So you have to go through all the pets before you get to the farm and all the farm before you get to the zoo. So it was almost like this game was made for our unit. We also have Tokaboka Pet Doctor and Dr. Amy Cares as apps on her tablet for this unit. And then the shows that I have in our playlist are Animal Rescue, Kitty 911, Dr. Pole, Pet Doctors of Atlanta, Vet Rescue Vet, Ocean Vet, Pet Medics, and then the All Creatures Great and Small. We got all those DVDs from the library. So those are all of these shows that I have in our list that we will be watching during this unit. You may have seen some of these games that I'm going to show you in our November morning basket, but I'm going to just show you all of the games that we have for our whole unit, which also happens to include some things from the morning basket. The first one I have is Animal Spot It. We also have the Brain Buster Pets. We have the Guess in 10 game, which is where you have buzzwords up here and you have to guess your animal asking 10 yes or no questions. We have IC Math. This is IC 20 and it's with safari animals. So all the different safari animals. We have Brain Box Animals. We have the Animal Card Line game, which is actually really cool because you play based off of the animal's weight, length, or lifespan. So we'll be learning a ton about animals playing that. And then I have the Professor Noggin Pets for the pet unit. The Professor Noggin This Is Farm for the farm unit. And the Professor Noggin Safari for the zoo unit. I also have, give me just a second, it's buried. The Pet Me game, which is an introduction to division, and it is all of the pet park. They're at the pet park, and you're trying to divide food between the pets. So I feel like this would be a really great math game to go along with this unit as well. So the last thing that we will be including in this unit are field trips. I really, really love field trips. I feel like it ties in kind of like the real with what you've been learning. It's a great way to experience what you've been learning in real life, and it's a great way to close out a unit. So I actually have way more than normal amount of field trips scheduled because this is something that she is so super interested in, and because 3 of the field trips were really easy to plan. So the 3 really easy ones to plan will coincide with as we end each section of the unit. So as soon as we end the pet vet, we will go to a pet shop. As soon as we end the farm vet, we will go to the farm. And as soon as we end the zoo vet, we will go to a zoo. So those were really, really easy to plan. The other things are just things that happen to be scheduled in the month of November while we're doing this unit, and they're just going to be when they're going to be. So one of those things is our local zoo. Well, I say local, it's like 45 minutes away, is doing a homeschool day, and their homeschool class that day happens to be zoo vets. So she will be taking part in that class. She will also be taking part, or we as a family will be taking part in the tour at Animal Kingdom that's called Caring for Giants. So you get to go on a private tour of the elephants. You see how they take care of them. They tell you about their day, about the elephant's day, and then you get an up-close view and tour of the elephant's enclosure and see them in the wild. So we're really excited about that. And then the last thing that I think Emily is the most excited about is that she will actually get to shadow a veterinarian for an entire day. And before I tell you any more about that, I just want to tell you that do not take no for an answer. If you know that your kid loves something and that they would love to do it, just keep trying. Because I called 76 veterinarians in a 100-mile radius of us, and every one of them turned me down and said absolutely not. She was 7, that they couldn't do it, they wouldn't do it. And I said, okay. I graciously said, okay, I'll call back when she's older, or, thank you for your time. Some gave me other information. I thank you for the info. But number 77 said yes. So she will actually get a chance to shadow a veterinarian all day. She will get to do paperwork, diagnose patients. She will get to help do checkups. She will get to observe surgeries. She will be basically his assistant all day long. And so she is very, very excited, and her excitement for that made all of those phone calls worth it. So that is my little homeschool mama encouragement to you guys, is if you know your kid loves something and you know that they can handle something, don't take no for an answer and keep calling until you get a yes, because it will happen, or hopefully it will happen. So that is everything that I have planned for our veterinarian unit. Now I'm actually going to save this video until we are at least halfway through our veterinarian unit, so that I can include some clips here at the end of us doing the unit, so you can see what fun we've had. And make sure you check out the description box down below, because that is where I will have the blog post that will have all of the links to everything that you have seen in this video for all of the awesome veterinarian resources.